Good afternoon for those of you who are in Europe, and good morning and good evening to those of you who are not. Big welcome to our latest webinar program. We have this learning and sharing culture, and today we're delighted to have a presentation from Doris Lee, who's the Absen Key Global Account Director, and she's also the Absen lead for their Absen Green program, which is a key part of the reason why we're having this webinar today. We also have Ross Burling, who's the Absen Industry Development Director. Now, just a couple of words about Absen. Absen was founded by Chairman Hansen Ding right back in 1996. And since 2012 has posted 12 consecutive years as the #1 by export value among the Chinese LED display exporters, and has accumulated numerous manufacturing and product service awards. It does business, believe it or not, in over 140 countries, has 6,000 global service engineers, and has over 50,000 installations, including the world's largest LED curve screen in Shenzhen. So very, very well qualified to share their vision and perspective on the LED market going forward. I was in China earlier in the year, and I visited the Absen factory, and it really is state of the art, very impressive operation. But what I was most impressed with was the culture of the company. They have a very open and extremely friendly culture in the business, and you can see everybody there is really happy and proud to be working in the organization. And I mentioned sustainability earlier because this is becoming a much more important feature in our daily lives, and it's very timely for us to hear what Absen has to say on the subject. I think the fact that we have Absen here today is a testament to the inclusivity of the World Out of Home organization. We're not just a media owner organization. We really do appreciate and value our service suppliers as well, and really delighted to have you here. I think Ross, you're going to kick off, but I just want to say that we do have a chat box, and we will have a live Q&A session afterwards, which Mark will be curating. So anybody who has any questions during the presentation, please put them in the chat box, or you can ask them live to Mark afterwards. So without further ado, a big welcome to Absen, a big welcome to Doris and to Ross. And I think you're going to kick off. So hand over to you now, Ross.
Thanks very much, Tom. Thanks for that introduction. I'll hopefully just share my screen with everybody. So hopefully you should be able to see our first slide in just a moment. So thank you very much for the introduction, as I say, and thanks to the WOO team for giving us the opportunity to join the webinar and provide you with an overview of our progress towards delivering sustainable solutions for LED. As already touched on by Tom, I'm Ross Burling, European Industry Development Director, and I'm joined by Doris. I'm going to do the first part of this presentation, and then partway through, we're going to show you a little video. And after that video, Doris is going to pick up on the second half of the presentation. For those of you who joined us at our EU Partner Summit in Malta a couple of weeks ago, I apologise in advance for the fact that some of the slides might be familiar to you. However, given the subject matter, I felt it was probably appropriate to recycle some of my presentation. So that's what you're getting if you were at the Partner Summit a couple of weeks ago. Okay, the key topics that we're going to raise during this presentation. Firstly, obviously, why do we need sustainable solutions? We're then going to have a little look at some of the out-of-home companies in terms of what they've been doing towards their sustainable actions. Then a discussion about the Absen Green program. What is it? As I say, and that's where we'll run our video. And then Doris is going to fill you in on sort of more details around that. And then our LED products themselves are sustainable digital designs for, say, sustainable LED screens. And then finally, we'll finish on a piece about our manufacturing strategy going forwards. So let's begin with why do we need sustainable solutions? And I think in explaining explaining a bit about this, I think it's probably a good idea to have some context. I think whether you're a believer or not, it's very difficult to deny that climate change is currently the defining issue of our time, and we're at a defining moment within that. From shifting weather patterns, which threaten food production, such as the ones we've seen only just last week. We hear that we've had the highest September temperatures around the world ever recorded on record. Also things like rising sea levels, increasing the risk of severe flooding. The impacts of climate change are global in scope and they're unprecedented in scale. There's a realization that we all need to take action now to slow the process, otherwise we're going to risk some catastrophic consequences. In addition to the challenges we've seen with climate change, there have also been other significant events that have had an impact on the green agenda. Most notable of these are obviously the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war, the recent financial crashes we had, the energy crisis, obviously as part and parcel of those two previous subjects, high inflation rates and increased fuel costs. All of these events have really focused the attention of Absen in finding ways to procure, manufacture, deliver more sustainable solutions and to reduce our individual and global company carbon footprint. We're looking to address the challenges of manufacturing and supplying sustainable solutions. The goal for most of us is to achieve carbon neutrality. So where's the world on this, and how close are we to achieving it? Well, you're all probably aware of the annual COP climate summits that take place. And at those COP climate summits, 135 countries have pledged carbon neutrality. But ironically, less than half of them have actually put a target year on their policies, their laws, or their propositions. And even then, it's worth noting that these commitments aren't actually guaranteed in any way. And in fact, as we'll have seen in the last weeks in the UK, those of you that are in the UK, we've seen the UK government move back on their ban on the sale of new petrol and diesel cars and the achievement of zero emissions by 5 years from 2030 to 2035. So as these facts and the chart indicates, we all still have a long way to go in terms of reaching carbon neutrality. Looking at how some of the world's leading global brands are addressing the challenge, and what are they planning with regards to greater sustainability and carbon neutrality? And as you can see on this slide, some have slightly more ambitious goals than others. Specifically in the AV and IT industry, the positive or good news is the likes of Microsoft and Apple have committed to carbon neutrality by 2030. And similarly, Facebook committed to greenhouse gas protocols for net zero value chain emissions by 2030 as well. So what about the DOH market? What actions are we all jointly taking to address these challenges? Well, in the AV display industry, the challenges are on power consumption and green credentials, and they're primarily focused on high brightness outdoor display technology, because this is seen as the high energy consumption technology. The digital out-of-home market has the largest quantities of high brightness outdoor displays, with the operators of these being global media advertising companies like some of you guys on the call. The good news here is that nearly all of you have made commitments to carbon neutrality and introduced initiatives in working towards these goals. Some examples of these are seen in the images on this slide, where in or on street furniture, most of the globally recognized operators of outdoor displays are using things like moss, grass, plants, etc. for carbon capture. And for large parts of their estates, the leading out-of-home companies also claim to use 100% renewable energy, the latest lighting solutions, including solar-powered LEDs, dimming technology, better energy-efficient display technology, and you're also giving priority to low-carbon refurbished and recycled materials. In other areas, you're also cleaning sites, typically using just water and no detergents, and the source of that water often comes from things like rainwater butts rather than using main water supplies. So there is some really positive activity going on within the out-of-home market itself. However, we've then seen some other challenges within the market. And this is due to the fact that one of the most obvious effects of climate change and the other significant events that I mentioned earlier has been the staggering rise in the cost of power. And the public awareness of the increases in the cost of power has led to a new negative activity targeting digital technology that's used on digital out-of-home advertising sites. So despite numerous green and sustainability initiatives being taken by out-of-home companies, display manufacturers, and system integrators, it's clear there's obviously still a misunderstanding and a lack of knowledge for both our customers and the general public about what we're all doing. This image, which I'm sure a lot of you will have seen because it was made publicly available, and the associated inaccurate comments, the result of a campaign in the UK by a group called Adblock Bristol. But they're not the only group doing this, and Bristol isn't the only city where this has been happening. Last month, they vandalized large format screens, covering them in paint, and they also drilled holes in the glass on many of the small format outdoor LCD screens. So it's pretty clear that together, those of us in the displays industry need to educate our customers, our partners, and indeed the general public with the truth and the facts about energy consumption for our products. So how are Absen educating the industry, our partners and the public about sustainable LED display products? And what's our progress towards achieving carbon neutrality? Well, this is where the Absen Green program comes in. And we're going to run for you, as I say, a little short 3-minute video in just a second. And it's going to give you an overview of this program. And then after the video, Doris is going to pick up on the presentation, and she's going to explain a bit more detail about the program and provide the information on where we are in terms of our path and where we're going to be going from 2024 onwards. So Janji, if you could run the video, and I'll let Doris pick up afterwards.
Earth gives birth to life, nourishes everything. It is the unique environment that human beings depend on. We need to do more to protect our green home. At Absen, we have always been a strong advocate for the sustainable development of products and going green. We believe we should do more actions to protect the Earth. More standards, less contamination. Absen's raw materials and devices use high-standard international brands, which can pass the test and evaluation of relevant laws, regulations, and directives to ensure a solid foundation for safety, energy saving, and environmental protection. More detail, less damage. The energy-saving design adopted by Absen products reduces the heat and the heat dissipation burden. The mainstream products adopt a fanless, muted design, which can reduce the sound pressure of working. In terms of visual effects, Absen adopts automatic brightness adjustment technology, high grayscale correction technology, and luminous fog surface treatment technology to prevent the LED display from being too bright and effectively solve the problems of glare. More quality, less consumption. Through common cathode low-voltage power supply technology, we choose high-efficiency power supply, high-efficiency LED comprehensive heat dissipation design to make the product energy consumption lower. More preservation, less damage. Absen products use blue light protection, which can effectively protect the viewer's eyes. Our mainstream products simultaneously meet a number of domestic and international electromagnetic compatibility Class A industrial standards, and some even reach Class B civil standards. It can prevent radiation hazards to the human body and ensure human health. More efficiency, less emissions. In 2021, Absen's Intelligent Manufacturing Base passed the ISO 5001 Energy Management System certification. The baseline energy consumption was reduced by 12.8% compared with that in 2020. More responsibility, less concern. Absen has always fulfilled its corporate social responsibility. We will continue to pay attention to the environment and personal health, strictly implement the requirements of environmental protection, and promote environmental protection work. In the future, we will also strive to complete the industry standards and promote the healthy and sustainable development of the industry. Protect the environment starts from you and me, Absen Green, as the Earth deserves.
Thank you, Janji. I think Doris is now going to pick up on the second half of this.
Yeah, thanks for Ross introduced the global situation and current OH market carbon neutrality situation for us. So for my part, I would like to introduce you about the Absen Green program. So although the Absen Green program officially started in 2021, Absen was already investing in a greener, sustainable future as early as 2014, with the opening of a new intelligent manufacturing center that improve efficiency, reduce power consumption, and scrappage. So between 2015 and 2018, we introduced solar panels for the purpose of generating a significant share of the factory's electricity requirement. Along with further improvements to the intellectual manufacturing process. In 2022, Absen released our first CSR report, the launch of Absen Green Statement, explaining our commitment and actions towards a sustainable future, and the introduction of our carbon offset tree planting program as well. So this year, Absen established the Absen Energy company, which called Radian. So together of this year, we also obtained TUV carbon footprint verification for our A-series outdoor product. There is also a wide range of Absen Green documents associated with this program, all of which are available to you. This slide shows some of these documents, and I'm confident this document would be very useful for your tender proposals and also for the questions maybe you receive from your customers. So to spread the word about Absen Green, we arranged and joined numbers of marketing activities, including roundtable, industry publications, interview, our founder Hansen Ding, and Hansen Ding awarding the carbon footprint verification from TUV management team, and the interview with WU's president Tom for Absen Green and the sustainability trends. Meanwhile, also thanks for WU that Absen becoming a member of the WU's sustainability task force, and also arranged this webinar for us to talk about Absen Green in the market. So why green energy and storage is a key component for sustainable LED display, the product itself also needs green credentials. So here I will talk a little bit about technologies on our product. So as already mentioned, the A-series product has achieved TUV carbon footprint verification. It's lightweight at 25 kilograms per square meter, therefore requiring less structure, which in return ensure a lower carbon footprint. In addition to the standard version, there are two power-saving versions, which may energy saving 28% and 35%. So here, I would like to also show you power saving by technology, which compare outdoor LED vs outdoor LCD. So the Absen AW series is available as individual cabinet or as a solution in the Absen light box. Compared with LCD, the LED solution lifetime cost significantly lower due to lower power consumption, module design, ease of servicing, lower labor cost, higher brightness, lower lifetime, better image quality, and lower labor cost. So here, I would like to give you a short video to show our Absen AW 1.9 totem. So this totem is installed in Absen GmbH office in Frankfurt. So if you have interest, you also can come to our office to take a look. Okay. So beside outdoor technologies, we use the energy saving solution. We also do it for indoor as well. So here I would like to introduce some technologies we use for our products, both indoor and outdoor, which including black screen energy saving design, dynamic energy saving design, common cathode energy saving design, and also flip chip energy saving design. So if you have any questions or you want to know more technology information, please feel free to contact us. We may talk separately. In response to some complaints by protest groups such as S-Block Bristol, Absen does already negate any harmful effects of blue light, as we already achieve anti-blue light certificate. We also follow W3E directive to facilitate the recycle, reuse, and recovery to reduce the waste of resources. In parallel, all Absen products meet the new ROS 2.0 directive to ensure Absen advocates the production concept of green, low carbon, energy saving, and environmental protection, and adheres to the enterprise purpose of sustainable development. So to go green, Absen also input that in our manufacturing, and also we set Absen green strategy. So here I would like to introduce a little bit about this part. So to go green healthy, Absen products have obtained the green health certificate of CESITS. So this is a certificate which covers 3 aspects, which including physical performance, optical performance, and virtual health performance, with 15 performance requirements for this certificate. And Absen, to go the sustainability, Absen also got a series of management system certificates, which including quality management system, environmental management system, occupation health management system, and hazard substance process management system. So Absen is also certified for business continuity management system and best managed companies, ensuring Absen business sustainability. As I mentioned earlier, that Absen has established a new company which called Ruiding, is for green power energy storage. So to combine the storage solution together with the LED display, we have come out a solution, we call it EDO, which is energy storage, DOOH. Yeah, so for this solution, we combine the solar panel together with the power storage and LED display solution. So I believe for the coming months, you can get some solutions from us. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So there are in the market, there are already some references for the solar systems. So for example, like the in Indonesia, there's a company called the City Vision, which is also our customer. They have installed Absen screen with the solar panel, which can generate 30% of the for the screen from the solar panel. And also in India, Zest Outdoor Media, one of the first green out-of-home assessment management company, has achieved a Guinness World Record for the most extensive installation of solar panels on a single advertising billboard. And as I mentioned earlier, that Absen Green also sets a strategy. So for our strategy, we cover 4 aspects, which including supplier chain, raw materials, product manufacturing, shipping, and packaging. So for supplier chain, we will choose low carbon emission raw materials. Of course, we also need our supplier chain support us to go green electric. And for the products and manufacturing parts, we will try our best to use green power and also go more efficient manufacturing process. And for shipping, we will improve project time management to go more sea freight than air freight to decrease the carbon emission. And for packaging part, we separate two parts, which including first is change packaging to eco-friendly design for reuse. And meanwhile, we will also change the packaging to materials which can be recycled. So Absen is and will always keep working on Absen Green program and influence the market to go sustainability. We hope more and more customers, suppliers, and ecosystem partners may join us in this campaign. Thank you. That's our presentation today. So I think I will hand over to Mark.
Thank you, Doris. That's great. If you could stop sharing your screen now, I think.
Okay.
If anybody has any questions, please type them into the chat bar and I'll pick them up live. I'd just like to start off with a couple of questions myself, really. So what's the current situation for carbon neutrality in China itself as a country? Ross?
I was going to say, Doris, do you want to, or I will? I'll pick that up. It's fine. Yeah. So my understanding at this point in time, I mean, China is forecasting a carbon peak year will be about 2030. So obviously, there's still a lot of carbon being produced in China, and we know some of the reasons for that. Although interestingly, as of last week, I think it was, or a couple of weeks ago, they are also at the same time the largest producer of electric vehicles in the world. And I think also took the point of being the largest supplier of motor vehicles in the world as well, as of a couple of weeks ago. But anyway, by 2060, so that's the current forecast, China is forecasting they'll have carbon neutrality at that point in time. At the moment, they've got 8 industries that are under government control, working on reductions in carbon emissions. And they're focused in the high carbon emission areas of the industries like petrochemical, chemical engineering, building materials, etc. They currently also have 7 carbon exchange markets. So in Beijing, Tianjin, Shanghai, a number of other areas, obviously 7. And essentially those carbon exchange markets compensate for carbon emissions by allowing companies to purchase carbon credits from entities that remove or reduce the greenhouse gas emissions. So very similar around the world, but they obviously have those set up in 7 areas within China. Currently, emission reductions for the LED display industry in China are done on a voluntary basis. And hopefully, as you'll see from some of the stuff that Doris has shared with you just now, we're certainly, in terms of the LED display industry, kind of leading that push at this point in time.
So what challenges does Absen face as a company to achieve those sort of levels for carbon neutrality?
Again, I mean, they're actually, it's a massive challenge, obviously. It's a massive challenge. And it's impacted by many areas of our business. It's not just what we do, but also looking at, things like supply chain. So what other companies are doing in terms of, the components they're supplying us with, how they deliver them to us, etc. And then we obviously need to look at our own product design, the materials, shipping costs, etc. And then equally importantly, the end of life disposal plans. So all of these need to be, all of these elements need to be put in a complete system management process. The main challenge for us, though, currently is there isn't any kind of global standard for the calculation of carbon emissions. So we took the decision, say, a while ago that we'd work globally with a recognized company in TUV to complete the necessary tests for carbon footprint verification for our products. When there is an agreement on global standards, a certification authority such as TUV is more likely to be responsible for the management of those standards. Being totally honest, the goals for carbon neutrality in China are still at a very early stage. But when looking at the LED display sector, I say we're already ahead of the market. However, if we want to achieve genuine carbon neutrality, then we need the support commitment from our complete supply chain. And this is, part of what we're working on right now.
You feel that it's an issue that's going higher up the agenda, really, and particularly for out of home in China and in other places around the world?
100%. I think, Doris, you can probably say, what in China specifically, obviously, because you're far more familiar with it. But I mean, yeah, do you see, do Absen see under the out-of-home industry in China, see it as being sort of our top priority at this point in time?
Yeah, I think, in fact, currently in China, because the carbon neutrality in China goes much slower than Europe. So for Absen side, we are quite ahead of the market. And did I frozen? Hello?
No, it's fine.
No, you're okay.
Okay. Because just now, Mark, can I have your question again? Because just now I can't hear you clearly.
It's okay. It was just a general question about how high up a priority is as a subject in China.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So in fact, in current, as you can see, the carbon neutrality year in China is generally later than Europe, and so in the market it's a little bit slow. The reason we focus only 8 industry for carbon to control the carbon emission is because those 8 industries generate most of the carbon emission in China. And I think it takes years for China to move forward. But for the companies which do overseas business, I think this is quite important for us to follow the market, because as we all know that in 2028 that Europe will start to charge the tax for the carbon emission. Yeah, so although currently the standards are not clear, but I'm quite sure all the standards will come out quite soon. Yeah.
Okay, great. We have a question from Osman, who would like to know more about the solar system as a supplementary power source for DOOH. How does Absen move forward on this, and what's the impact specifically on CapEx and OpEx? Which one?
Yeah, in fact, this really a good question for us. As I mentioned, that Absen has established a new company, which is for power storage. So for the solar system, generally we will combine Absen Rayden, that company called Rayden. We will combine Rayden and Absen display division. We combine together. And so, in fact, currently we are facing a lot of challenges to realize this solution to come out. As we all know that for OH, we need the space for the solar panel, and we also need the space for the storage system. It's quite big. So how to manage it well is also a question for us. So what we are doing is that we are looking for some partners together to make some standard solution. For example, take UK D48 as the example. Is very standardized size in the market, and of course in other markets also have some other standards. So with this kind of standard size of the screen, we can make standard size of the solar panel and also the power storage system. So to combine all of these together. But I don't think for billboards we will go pure solar power because it's quite big. I don't think we have enough space for the solar panel and the storage system. But we can combine the electric from solar panel and also from the grid. Yeah.
What about the capital expenditure on that? Is that worked into the price on a panel, or how do you do that?
Yeah, in fact, this is kind of a balance. So at this moment, we are also in the investigation stage to how to balance it for how many percentage of solar panel generates the power for the screen would be most give us a most best ROI.
I think from what we've seen so far, Mark, I mean, in some of the, prior to actually, setting up Absen Energy, just looking at things like the power saving products, yes, we talked about 28 or 36%, saving in terms of power. But obviously, to purchase that product, it is more expensive because the components we're using, etc., are more expensive to enable us to provide that solution. However, that's more than offset when you then look at things like the actual power, the costs associated with that power saving. And I think, when Doris was talking about it earlier, I think just as an example, even if you look at the low power version of our product, if someone had an estate of, say, 50 D48s, it doesn't matter which country it's in, but I know what power costs in the UK at the moment. But over a 5-year lifetime, an estate of 50 screens of D48s, you'd save somewhere in the region of £650,000 to £700,000. So in terms of your initial capex, yes, there will be a premium for the screen in the first place, and indeed, if you're buying it as a solution with the power storage, the solar panels, etc., yes, obviously there's an uplift, but the savings you're going to make far outweigh any kind of uplift in that initial capex.
Imagine the sunnier the country, the better it is as well.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Yeah, well, there are other forms as well. I mean, in terms of renewable energy, of course, we can have access not only to solar, but also to wind, to hydro, etc. So it's also about working with suppliers in terms of, where you're getting your energy from, and what kind of energy you're using.
So do you foresee a time when it can be completely powered by renewable energy as an industry, or from a manufacturing point of view? And
yeah, I think, yes, there will be a time, but I think we're still a little way from it now because, some of the technology like the solar panels themselves, in terms of efficiency, the size of panels required to generate, the necessary amount of power to run, larger screen formats. I mean, those solar panels don't really exist at this point in time. So, I think it is there, but I think we're still a little way off yet. But if we can make a combination of efficiencies in terms of the way that we're designing the products, obviously the environmental elements of the product in terms of its sustainability, its recyclability, all of those things, with the developments that we'll see in the other technologies associated with the power side of things, then yes, it's going to happen. It's going to happen, but I don't know exactly what time period we're talking about at the moment.
So what about future plans for the the reduction in emissions in your LED displays and your manufacturing processes?
Yeah, so in terms of decreasing our carbon emission, I think Doris touched on that on some of the slides. There are kind of 3 key aspects we're obviously looking at, and those are based around improving product design for better end of life disposals, changing supply chains again, which we touched on, for raw materials. Looking at a lot of those being recyclable or low carbon emission materials in the first place. And yes, the use of new technologies, as we've just touched on there, about establishing Absen energy, sorry. So I think there are, yes, a number of areas that we are looking to do that in terms of aiming for carbon neutrality. But again, we've still got a fair bit of work to do, as has everybody. But I'd say I think we've made some very good progress thus far.
Right. I don't seem to have any other questions from the audience. I think you've answered everything there is. So as far as I'm concerned, great. Thank you very much, Doris and Ross. Tom, would you like to wrap up for us?
Yes. A big thanks, Doris, and big thanks, Ross. It's always good to see companies actually coming out and spelling out the actions they're taking. Actions speak louder than words. This is something that we all have to be very committed to. We're very committed to this in the World Out of Home organization. We have our dedicated sustainability task force, and it features now in all of our forums and all of our conferences. So it's great to see these positive moves that you're taking in Absen, and certainly the feeling I got was that there's a very high level of commitment to continuing that sort of journey. So thank you very much, both of you. Congratulations to Absen, and keep it going. So thank you to all our listeners, and we will be, I guess, Richard, we will be recording. We have recorded this, so we will be posting it on our website.
And we'll hope to have this up on Friday. The link will go out with the newsletter.
Great. And as Mark said, see you in Bali.
Yeah. One other last request, or given the presentation content we've just had, if you haven't yet filled in your sustainability survey, please can you do it by the end of the week, because we'll be closing that by the end of the week. Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you all for
you.
attending.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ross. Thanks, Doris.
Thank you all. Thank you.